tonight here.
Yes. Like he was here about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, because I'm such a huge fan. I'm a little bit of a fanboy. I get a little nervous around him because about maybe 12 years ago, I think it was, Dale really founded the Maker movement and started Make Magazine and Maker Fair, and now there's hundreds of Maker Fairs around the world now. And this is the biggest and best one, I think. San Francisco likes to compete a little bit, but
We like to think so.
yeah, but I don't think they hold a candle. And we've done the Maker Fair out in the Bay Area before too, and that's a lot of fun. Maker Fair here in New York City is always amazing, always unique experience, and that's really what inspired us. I think that a bunch of public school teachers got together a few years ago, and we're like, this is interesting what we're trying to do, teach kids to read and write, math and science, and but we felt like there were some things missing, and I think the Maker movement and Maker Fair really points to that missing element in education, which is hands-on and student-centered. And so that's what we try to do with Makerstate, where we go into a school and we start a Makerspace club, and the kids get a chance to every week or several days a week and during summer camp make things, make robots, make rockets, digital movies or video games through coding. And so the Maker movement really informs the way we think education ought to be. We envision a future, and if you want to stop by our table over here, Naved and Bo are over here, and they're doing robotics arts with Ozobots, a tiny little robot with a microcontroller in it. And one of the things that we love about working with this type of technology is that a 5, 6, 7-year-old can walk up to an Ozobot and create some art on a page, and the robot responds to the art. And they begin to develop curiosity about how that robot works and how it gets coded, and eventually they can learn coding through controlling this little robot. So really, to us, it's about immediate engagement, play, exploration, curiosity, making, hacking, innovating, inventing. That to us is what school ought to be.
I mean, we wholeheartedly agree here at the New York Hall of Science. A lot of our programming is very similar. We also have our Makerspace that is hosting an activity for us tonight. One of the things we also, thank you, Trishna is giving a little wave of the hand over there. So one of the things that we always think about is in these activities, the kinds of skills you're developing and how that really connects back to this idea of STEM skills or workforce skills. And so for me, these kinds of activities really engage learners in critical thinking and things outside of just content. So how many of you have ever dissected an animal? Right? There's a lot of, I dissect a lot of stuff. I was a bio major. How many of you remember the process that you use to dissect stuff? And you could dissect some stuff again. Maybe, right? How many of you have ever made something that you were like astounded that you could do that? What have you made, Elijah? What have you made? You made a projector. That's really awesome. Anyone else ever make anything really cool? I made a kid. I count that, right? Like, does that count?
That's very cool. Thank you for doing that.
No problem. So like we all do making in different ways. So when we think about like the kinds of activities that we're doing, Elijah, did anyone tell you to like make a projector? So it's this kind of self-investment and like this want to do something. And so when you think about this kind of drive, when you think about the kind of skills that students are developing through making and making activities, how do you think it prepares them for some of their next steps, both academically, but also like in their careers?
Oh boy, that's a great question, because I think, what New York Hall of Science does really well is immerses young people in STEM or STEAM and gives them an opportunity to see up close and personal and explore with their hands, their brains, and their peers what engineering or scientific method could look like. I think one of the things I might say in some of my quietest, most reflective moments, I might think that, Makerstate's in about 50 school programs around the city. We run 5 STEM summer camps for 9 weeks every summer, and we love doing that. But I don't really think at our heart and soul, we're not really a coding for kids or an engineering company. It's not about the digital arts, really. It's about a way of being. And I think that's one thing that New York Hall of Science does really well, is it's fostering a sense of curiosity and exploration in the world. And when a young person learns that curiosity and that boldness and exploration, and really that's risk-taking, intellectual, emotional, physical risk-taking, where they have to put themselves out in the world and take a chance and introduce themselves to somebody new or try something that they think they could fail at, and actually learning that failing is learning, and it's not getting it right, it's getting it wrong, and what do you learn in that process? So that mental gap that sometimes is there between, because the school is teaching us, taught me anyway, I don't know if it's still this way, I think it is in many cases, to get it right, listen, repeat, memorize, test on Friday, test in June. And I think what separates the New York Hall of Science and innovative programs like we see here is that we're saying, just take a chance. And I think that attitude about life is what can transform somebody's life from, just the ordinary and what society wants you to do maybe, and what corporations or the government wants you to do. And it transforms a life into what you want to do, and it's more aligned with your dreams and building your identity.
We talk a lot about successful failures. So just for our audience, I'd love for you to think of a time that you tried something and you really wanted to get it done, but you bombed, you failed, it didn't happen for you. How did you feel in that moment? Not so boo, right? I'm getting some thumbs down, like nobody was happy. Now reflect on that moment and think about what you learned from it and the next time you try to do something. Did you use that moment at all? Oh, okay, great. That's a few more head nods and a thumbs up. I really appreciate the engagement here. Thumbs up, thumbs down. It's really helpful. So it's just really thinking about failure and failure being learning moments and moments for us to kind of think about things in a different way. And in that moment, yeah, it's going to suck and it's going to be really hard. And it's really how you handle it, and it's how you move forward, and it's how you leverage it into being something positive for yourself too. So we've kind of seeded a couple of different things that we're open to talking to, and we welcome you to come join us up here, have a couple of questions. If you have any questions that you want us to address to the larger audience, we're happy to do that also. But this is a quick introduction. Did you have any kind of just other overview words that you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, well, shameless plug. It's really more challenging than I'd like it to be to find instructors to work with elementary and middle school students. And so, for instance, if you got a chance to meet Naved and Bo over here, just really talented, passionate guys who are specializing in a certain area. It might be electrical engineering or computer science or digital arts of some kind. A lot of game designers on our crew. But just to make a plug, we are always looking for Maker Fellow instructors and interns to help deliver the program. So if you have any interest in reaching down to the generation below you and helping touch a life, spark a passion, build a skill, it's so easy to do it. And I think, I'm an old public school teacher, and I wanted to teach so bad. I used to help one of my teacher friends grade papers after school, and he was like, "You ought to be a teacher." And I'm like, "No, I don't know enough to be a teacher." And he's like, you just got to switch that mentality. It's not about filling the bucket, it's about lighting the fire. And so if you're passionate about anything, if you want to create something in the world, if you want to make a difference, then I might ask you to stop by our table over here and consider taking on that role of Maker Fellow or intern and helping light a fire with us, with elementary school kids around the city. That's Maker State over here at this table. Talk to Naved and Bo, they're right over there.
And I think it's not a shameless plug at all. I think the point and the purpose of these events and the reason that we bring in so many partner organizations is to really be an access point to find out about the opportunities that are out there. So there's these amazing things happening throughout New York City, and sometimes we know about them and sometimes we don't. And so it's through STEM Nights that hopefully we teach people a little bit more about the opportunities that you have access to. So
can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
You have a program where young people, high schoolers, can come and be docents at the museum and interpret the museum for younger folks. I'd like to know more about that.
Sure. So at the museum, we have a program called the Science Career Ladder Program. Raise your hand if you are part of the Science Career Ladder Program. Thank you for the cheers. You can talk to any of these people. They're more expert than I and can give you the kind of real lowdown about what they do. I'm going to give you the fluffy, what sounds really good to recruit people version of this. But the Science Career Ladder program is a paid program for high school and college students to come work at the museum as explainers. And so their primary function is to really engage our visitors in conversations around science, technology, engineering, and math. So they're bringing to life the content in our exhibits, in our programming, and our demonstrations. And what we do is we do a lot of career development and support for our explainers. So these events started as a way of bridging access for our explainers, and we just opened it up to students throughout New York City. We go on trips to organizations. We have partnerships with schools for research and mentoring programs. And so what we're doing is we're really committed to helping students that typically you don't see in STEM fields succeed in STEM fields. So if you're interested, you can, again, raise your hand if you're an explainer. You can come find me, and I'm happy to answer any more questions. And then Iram over here is kind of the one who put all of this together for us, and she has all of that information too that we can share out.
Thank you, Iram. And this looks really great on a resume.
It absolutely does look really good on a resume.
Anytime that comes across Maker State, one of our best Maker Fellows who's been with us for years, Zaheen.
Yep, started at the New York Hall of Science through one of our programs.
Yeah, so it's a great path to start a career in STEM or not.
That's true. And so when we think about this is a STEM program, success comes because you guys make it successful for yourselves. You're building your communication skills. You're thinking about how you leverage opportunity. So you don't have to go into STEM fields or want to go into a STEM field to come do this role. It's really about pushing yourself and your boundaries to develop the skills that'll help make you successful in your next steps.
Hey, our curriculum, our lessons are called challenges. So every day the kids meet and they do a challenge project. And we try to get them to stretch and build something new, learn something new. I love to drop a challenge on you all. If there's a lot of different interesting groups here. Cooper Hewitt, Girls Who Code, Maker State's here. A lot of interesting things. Game developers. There's a medical device app over here. Clarkson, I like to learn more about them. If I would challenge you to find one person or organization that you could learn a little bit more about and engage with, and maybe make something with them. Make a connection and keep that connection up. One of the things that we find is that if we stay in the little bubbles that our schools and perhaps even our families put us in, they want us to be safe and they want us to do the standard thing. But and that's good. We ought to be doing those things. But if we can take opportunities to stretch out beyond ourselves and learn something new, that's what's really going to make your life super fun. So take the challenge, meet somebody new, and follow up with them, and you never know what's going to happen.
I think those were awesome, good ending words. So thank you so much for challenging our audience, speaking with us tonight. And like I said, we're not done. If you want to talk more, just come up.
Let's go.